Okay, this is now the 5 Minute Tarot for the 13th of August 2017. And today I'd like to consider major trumps and minor trumps and the difference between them. Because most places or most books and articles that you read will tell you about how the major trumps represent spiritual lessons, whereas the minor trumps are everyday occurrences. And that's one way of looking at it. But we can understand what we mean by spiritual. Maybe it means something for one person, something completely different or basically different for somebody else. So I think if you start with a theory to begin with, and then try to fit the cards into the theory, it's not always going to work out well, and you can get confused, and you can go down dead ends and not know that it's a dead end. Excuse me. Whereas if you think about it, major trumps are cards with names. You've got a word. And why don't we just consider the word and relate it to the picture? So a few days ago, I watched this podcast video thing. I'm not quite sure what it was, a webcast podcast discussion. And somebody called in or somebody emailed in to the presenters and said, what can I do to improve my budgeting skills or to be better able to budget? And so the different people on the show picked a card, and one person picked the Emperor and said, the Emperor, this is Aries. And then she picked another card. And so it's a bit like she picked a card, she gets the Emperor and immediately ignores the fact that it was the Emperor. So she started talking about Aries, but the reader, or the questioner rather, won't automatically or probably doesn't know what Aries means or what its significance is or how it would act or how it ought to act. So by talking about Aries, you're really confusing the questioner. You might as well be talking Klingon or some other made-up language. Dothraki, is it, in Game of Thrones? Only because or maybe it's like microbiology, that if you don't know what the terms mean, then you're lost. Whereas the name of the card was the Emperor. And we can think about what an emperor is and does and what an empire is. You can always look it up on Google or something. But if you're an emperor and you think back to being an emperor, it's like you dominate and you take over. If you think of the British Empire a long time ago, they used to say the sun never set on the British Empire because Britain controlled countries throughout the world, like so there was Europe, and then there was Africa and Asia, India and Pakistan, and then Hong Kong. So wherever the sun was, it never set on the British Empire because the empire was so big. So if we take the Emperor, this is somebody or a situation where there's expansionist policy and you want to do things in a big way. You want to take over. You want to control. Maybe you're good at it. Maybe you just steal what doesn't belong to you, but because you think, okay, this is now mine, I own everything. So if you take the word emperor and think about what it means and what's involved in being an emperor, maybe you need an army, so you need people to go out and do your dirty work, or you need a team, because you can be the emperor, but you probably need advisors. So going back to the question about how do you budget, eventually you do it on your own, but before you get to that point of skill and expertise, you need a team. So that can mean that what the fellow does is he reads books, he reads blogs, he reads websites on how to budget, and he gets a variety of ideas and techniques on how to budget, and he tries them and finds what works. Then he's going to be in control of his own budgeting, because the emperor probably doesn't. He can be the figurehead as well of an organization, but and maybe he's quite skillful and quite capable in different areas, but he still needs a team and he still needs backup. and he can't micromanage. He can't keep his eye on every tiny little detail of every department. He has to have good lieutenants. You need good employees or good assistants if you're going to be an emperor, if you're going to get the best out of the emperor. So the emperor reverse can mean that people let you down, not particularly with the budgeting question, but generally speaking. You can find that if the emperor comes up or the emperor comes up, then it's important that you've got good people working with you or for you or around you. Whereas with the emperor reversed, the odds are that you're not going to get the support that you want or expect, or you're not going to get the quality of work that you expect or that you want from the people that you, from the people that you want it from. So that's one way of figuring out not so much what a card means, but what sense it makes. So you take and with major trumps, we've got a word, high priestess, not a priest, but a priestess. And what's the difference between them? And not just an ordinary priestess, but a high priestess. And it's a woman. And does this mean that, let's say somebody wants to know about getting a promotion, the high priestess comes up. Because the priestess is a woman, and nowadays they say that women have to work twice as hard as men to prove that they're equal, which is kind of ridiculous, but it's the way things are at the moment. So with the high priestess in a question about a promotion, maybe it's getting the reader to talk to the questioner about the amount of effort that they put into the project or into the work, that they're going to have to probably do twice as much as other people. Maybe the other people have got advantages that the questioner doesn't have. Maybe there's already they already know people in the company, or there's a family member works there, or they went to a good school, or whatever it happens to be. But they've got other people who have an automatic advantage over the questioner. So you've got to work twice as hard to be on the same, or to be in the same level, let's say, as the other candidates. So with major trumps, we have a word. So think about the word and take it seriously and research the word and think about it at odd moments and think about what you would add to your general understanding of the nature of the major trump. So this was going to be about major trumps and minor trumps, but maybe I'll do some more tomorrow on minor trumps. But let me just say, we've got major trumps are words and concepts and ideas, whereas minor trumps are part of a sequence. You've got an area of life represented by the suit, and then you've got a sequence from the ace through to the 10, but you've also got different steps or stages along the way, if you want to look at it that way, and you've got different activity belonging with each of the minor trumps. So cups because cups is a cup, it can represent love and romance and passion and friendship, and also celebration and recognition of success if you win the cup. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that are going on with cups. Whereas with a sword, you're dealing with maybe attack and defense. So it's different. And I think we've got 22 major trumps, each with a name, and then you get 4 suits. So think about the nature of the suits and it's not so much what does it mean, but what kind of activity or what area of our life is represented by a suit or is going to be affected by activity in one of the suits. That's probably enough at the moment. Otherwise, I just keep going for hours. So let me stop now. And maybe tomorrow we'll look at, or next time, probably in 2 days, we'll look at minor trumps. And then maybe we'll do something additional, the one after that. In the meantime, thanks very much. Oh, yeah. I've now set up johnballantrae.com. It's one word. and it's about change and how we should handle change. Okay, so you might want to take a look at that, and I'll talk to you again. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.